In today's video, we're exploring a truly captivating design fusion, where East meets West in the most luxurious way possible. Sapphire Screens and Saddle Leather is more than a style, it's a storytelling experience. It's the delicate brush of Chinese artistry intertwined with the earthy depth of Western craftsmanship, harmonized in a home that reflects global elegance. Chinoiserie is a decorative style that emerged in 17th century Europe, inspired by Chinese motifs and aesthetics. Think hand-painted silk wallpapers, porcelain vases, lacquered screens, and mythical creatures. It's romantic, whimsical, and intricate. In today's fusion, these elements play a starring role, layered with bold Americana to create visual poetry in every room. On the other side of the design spectrum lies the Western aesthetic, leather saddles, sun-bleached woods, Navajo patterns, and the scent of worn denim. It's tactile, robust, and grounded. Together with chinoiserie, it offers a contrast that's surprisingly complementary. The ornate meets the rugged, and the fantastical meets the familiar. Color is the heartbeat of any fusion. Sapphire blue is the anchoring hue here, echoing Chinese porcelain and twilight skies. Saddle brown introduces warmth and masculinity, while neutrals like ivory, parchment, and slate offer balance. These tones ground the visual tension between East and West, making them dance rather than clash. Imagine a living room where a hand-painted sapphire chinoiserie panel stretches across one wall, while a worn leather club chair sits comfortably in front. A wool rug inspired by Western tribal motifs anchors the space, and a Ming-style side table cradles a bronze horse sculpture. This is cross-cultural curation at its finest. Chinoiserie furniture often features delicate curves, hand-carved details, and lacquer finishes. Western furniture, by contrast, emphasizes solid construction and raw materials. A brilliant fusion might include a Chinese altar table repurposed as a media console, flanked by reclaimed oak chairs covered in embossed saddle leather. The Old World meets the Wild West. Layering textiles brings this fusion to life. Silk cushions embroidered with cherry blossoms sit beside fringed leather throws. A hand-knotted Eastern rug rolls beneath a rugged cowhide accent. Velvet drapes in cobalt blue grays reclaimed barnwood floors. These textures create a tactile experience that is both luxurious and approachable. Wall art in this design story ranges from framed Qing Dynasty calligraphy to vintage Western rodeo posters. A carved jade figurine might sit beside a silver concho belt. Every decorative object becomes a character in the narrative, bridging continents and centuries in one beautifully cohesive vignette. Lighting is key in uniting both aesthetics. Think Chinese lanterns made of silk and bamboo alongside wrought iron sconces that recall blacksmith craftsmanship. A statement chandelier might combine pagoda silhouettes with rawhide shades. Light itself becomes a symbol, softly glowing through the veils of cultural history. The entryway sets the tone. Imagine a console table carved in a dragon motif, topped with a saddle leather valet tray. Above it, a large mirror framed in distressed barnwood reflects a silk wall hanging. Visitors are immediately immersed in a space that defies boundaries and celebrates contrast. In the kitchen, the east-west fusion is subtle yet effective. Lacquered blue cabinetry adorned with brass pulls nods to Chinese tradition. Open shelves display blue and white porcelain beside Western cast-iron cookware. A saddle leather banquette wraps a breakfast nook filled with light, where soy sauce and smoked brisket comfortably coexist. dining room becomes a theatrical set. A Ming-style dining table is surrounded by high-back chairs upholstered in distressed suede. Above, a pagoda-style chandelier casts patterned shadows. Tableware might include fine porcelain alongside stoneware bowls. This is a table where East meets West in cuisine, conversation, and design. A luxurious blend of serenity and strength defines the bedroom. Lacquered nightstands support hammered metal lamps. The bed features a carved wooden headboard reminiscent of a Chinese screen, dressed in linens of indigo silk and rustic cotton. Above it, a cowboy hat rests on a porcelain hook. It's pure poetry in decor. In the bath, opulence meets authenticity. A freestanding tub inspired by traditional opium beds rests beside a reclaimed barnwood vanity. Chinese blue floral tiles line the walls, offset by a Western-style mirror framed in rawhide. Even the smallest space becomes a meditation on blended luxury. Outdoor spaces echo the theme beautifully. A courtyard fountain shaped like a Chinese lotus pool is surrounded by Adirondack chairs in weathered teak. Paper lanterns swing from wrought iron hooks. The blend of natural textures and stylized symmetry creates a harmonious retreat steeped in quiet drama. This isn't just a style, it's a philosophy. Chinoiserie and Western design both carry deep cultural stories. When you fuse them, you create a home that honors craftsmanship, invites narrative, and embraces balance. This is a design that's intentional, not accidental. It's a home curated with soul and story. Layering is key in this aesthetic. From fabric to finish, each element should feel like it has a past. Pairing an antique Chinese lacquer box with a Navajo wool runner isn't a clash, it's a dialogue. The more you layer thoughtfully, the deeper and richer the story becomes. Dragons and horses, pagodas and prairie stars, these symbols enrich your decor. A dragon embodies power and protection, a galloping horse speaks of freedom and motion. Use these icons sparingly but meaningfully. Let your space be a storybook where symbols are the sentences of style. Materiality is essential. Favor authenticity, real leather, natural silks, solid woods, and true porcelain. These materials connect the design back to its roots. There's power in the patina of age, the softness of handwoven silk, and the resilience of cowhide. Each material should speak of origin and endurance. This look thrives on collected energy. Incorporate items picked up from travel, inherited pieces, or artisan-crafted decor. Let your home feel like a museum of experience. Whether it's a turquoise bolo tie or a cloisonné vase, every item should have a story worth telling. Use contrast to your advantage. Pair ornate with simple, glossy with matte, bold with soft. A delicate painted screen behind a rough stone fireplace. A cowboy boot repurposed as a vase beside a celadon bowl. These juxtapositions make the space sing with elegance and intrigue. Even windows participate in the story. Bamboo blinds offer a nod to the east, while flowing linen drapes evoke western open plains. Embellish with horsehair tassels or porcelain tiebacks. The treatment should frame the view while framing your design dialogue at the same time. fusion works best in open floor plans, where light and movement allow styles to breathe. Keep spaces airy, and let furniture placement guide the fusion organically. Rooms should flow like a travel journal, one chapter leading gracefully into the next, full of rich, aesthetic stories. Consider investing in custom pieces that fuse the two aesthetics. A handcrafted bar cabinet made from reclaimed barnwood with Chinoiserie-style metalwork. Or a suede upholstered bench featuring Eastern cloud motifs. These bespoke items become heirlooms, conversations in wood, fabric, and form. Rugs are foundational in this look. A rich Chinese silk rug layered over a rugged Western jute mat creates a layered narrative underfoot. Whether it's a Tibetan knot pattern or a classic Western geometric design, choose rugs that root the space in warmth, history, and handcraft. It's easy to get carried away with a bold fusion style. But remember, restraint is part of the elegance. Each piece should have intention. Leave room for stillness between the stories. The best designs leave space for the imagination to wander, and the eye to rest. every accessory contributes. A set of hand-painted chopsticks in a leather sleeve. A turquoise-studded incense holder. Even drawer pulls and cabinet knobs can echo the East-West dialogue. When chosen carefully, these subtle elements become punctuation marks in your decor narrative. Design doesn't end at what you see. Layer the air with incense and cedarwood, a blend of Chinese temples and Western cabins. Play music that combines traditional guzheng strings with acoustic guitar. Engage all senses to truly immerse guests and yourself in the world you've created. While rooted in tradition, this style can feel entirely modern. Clean lines, minimal clutter, and intelligent lighting elevate the aesthetic into contemporary luxury. Embrace technology discreetly and prioritize comfort. The future of fusion decor is not about mimicry, it's about meaningful evolution. In the marriage of sapphire screens and saddle leather, we find something rare, a design language that transcends geography and time. It's opulent yet grounded, ornate yet rugged, and always deeply personal. In your own home, let this fusion reflect your travels, your heritage, your stories. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep creating beauty that bridges worlds.